And welcome back to my channel. Today I will be sharing a recipe for a Valentine's Day dinner idea. I figured since Valentine's Day is right around the corner, let me just go ahead and get the ideas out to you guys as soon as possible. And since COVID is on the rise, you know, we don't want to risk our health going out there catching COVID, so it's best to just stay in and make your own dinner. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a delicious dinner right at home. We're going to start by making our mashed potatoes, and here I have some potatoes chopped. I'll be using some half and half milk and cream. I have sour cream, some butter. I have garlic cloves. I'll be using some garlic salt, 2 chicken bouillon cubes, and some black pepper. So in a pot of water, I did add my potatoes, and now I'll add my garlic cloves. I'll also add my 2 bouillon cubes. This will add great flavor and taste to the potatoes, but if you like, you can use just salt. We will let this boil until it is soft. You want it nice and soft for mashed potatoes, so we'll boil them, then I'll show you guys the next step. Once the potatoes are nice and soft, we'll drain them and return them to a bowl. We'll add our sour cream or butter. I did melt the butter a little. We'll add our garlic salt, black pepper, and our milk. We will mash them until it reaches the consistency that we like. Now, I don't like my mashed potatoes super smooth. I like it, you know, kind of with a little bit of chunk to it. But if you like yours completely smooth, go ahead and do it the way you like. Once we're done, we'll set this aside and move on to the next dish. The mashed potatoes are absolutely delicious and they're so easy to make. You know, all the garlic and the bouillon flavor and everything comes together perfectly. Your guests will be amazed. Now let's make some steamed broccolini. Here I have some baby broccolini. I'll be using some black pepper, all-purpose seasoning, and butter. Super simple. In a pot of boiling water, I will now add my baby broccolini. This helps to blanch them and they soften up a bit, but not to where they're mushy. We just want to soften them up, and it also helps them to keep their nice vibrant green color. Once we're done, we will drain this and we'll place it into an ice bath. That will help to stop the cooking process, and then I'll show you guys the next step. In the same pot, we'll add some butter. Allow the butter to melt. Once the butter melts, we'll add our all-purpose seasoning and black pepper. Then we will add our broccolini in here. Give it a good toss. This is just to give the broccolini some flavor and taste. You know, you don't want to eat it bland with nothing on it. So this is just to coat the broccolini so it will have that flavor and taste, and that's it. We don't need to cook this because we don't want it to become mushy. We will remove it and set it aside. Now, if you wish, you can add more butter, but I feel like the whole entire recipe was a lot of butter I was adding, so I didn't want to, you know, clog our arteries with all that butter. But, you know, feel free to add more if you wish. Now let's move on to the next dish. Now that we've got our sides out of the way, now let's move on to our entree. Here I have some salmon fillets. I went ahead and washed them and pat them dry, and I'll be using some extra large shrimp. I also have here some Cajun seasoning. I have Old Bay seasoning and some black pepper. Super simple. So the first thing you want to do is combine all of your seasonings into one bowl, mix them well. Then we will coat the salmon with the seasonings on both sides. And when you season your salmon this way, you'll find that a lot of the seasonings will fall on the board. So what I like to do is turn the salmon to the sides and just pat, you know, picking up all that seasonings with the salmon from the board. And once I'm done, I will let this rest for about 10 minutes. Seafood does not need a long time to marinate. It holds seasoning pretty well. So you don't need to let this sit for a very long time. And I'll show you guys how I season the shrimp. And we'll use the same seasonings for the shrimp. We'll just add it in there and mix well. That's it. Set aside and let this marinate also for about 10 minutes. While the salmon and shrimp is marinating, let's take a quick look at the ingredients for the sauce. Here I have some chicken broth, I have flour, heavy whipping cream, I'll be using butter, better than bouillon, lobster base, I have Cajun seasoning, and some grated garlic. In a preheated pot, I did add some oil, and now I'll place my salmon in here. You want to cook your salmon for about 3 minutes on each side. You never want to overcook your salmon. Dry, overcooked salmon is not any fun, guys. Trust me. Or it depends on how big your salmon is. If your salmon is bigger than this, it might take about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. Once the salmon is fully cooked, you want to remove the salmon and set aside. As you can see, I just had a little mishap. The salmon almost broke on me, so I had to use my spatula. You know, I could have edited this part out, but I figured, you know, these things happen in the kitchen. Why hide it? So we will set this aside and move on to the next step. In the same pot, we'll now add our shrimp, and we'll allow our shrimp to cook for about 2 minutes on each side. Now the shrimp will cook a little more inside of the sauce, so you don't want to overcook it. Be very careful, and you also don't want to overcook it and run your guests away. You want to impress your guests, not run them away. Once the shrimp is done, you want to remove them and set them aside. Now let's make that yummy sauce for the shrimp. In the same pot, we're going to add some butter, allow the butter to melt. Once the butter melts, we'll go in with our garlic and we'll cook the garlic for, you know, about a minute or so. We don't want to burn the garlic, we just want it to become nice and fragrant. When your garlic is grated, it don't need to be cooked a long time because it's so fine, it cooks very fast. Next, we'll add the flour and we'll allow it to go for about a minute or so, or a few seconds, because you know it's not a lot of flour, so we don't need to let it go long. You know, because we want to get rid of some of the raw taste from the flour, we will just let it go a bit. And then we will start adding our chicken broth. After we've added our chicken broth, we'll let this come up to a simmer and thicken a bit before adding the rest of our ingredients. Once it thickens, we'll go in with our heavy cream and we'll add our better than bouillon lobster base. We'll also add our Cajun seasoning here. Now the better than bouillon lobster base, it's very concentrated, and you know, you don't need to add a lot. Also, this gives the sauce its flavor and its taste. So that's why I'm not adding a whole bunch of seasonings and this and all that, because that better than bouillon is all that you really need. And the Cajun is for that kick and spiciness. We'll let the sauce go for about a minute or so just to let all the ingredients marry. Then we'll add our shrimp. Next, we'll add our shrimp, give it a good mix, and we'll allow the shrimp to go for about a minute or so. Then we'll add some fresh parsley for garnish, and that's it. That's how you make this delicious dish. Now let's fix a plate and let me show you guys the finished product. And here you have it, guys, the perfect Valentine's Day dinner. We have garlic mashed potatoes, steamed broccoli, some pan-seared salmon, and shrimp in a delicious Cajun cream sauce. this is just a perfect seafood lover dinner. They will enjoy this. The flavors are all on point and everything just comes together perfectly. It's simple and easy to make, and your guests will be blown away. They will be in for a treat, trust me. I do hope you guys give the recipe a try, and if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for me. I will be leaving all my ingredients and measurements down in the description box, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Have a good day and enjoy.